Stop assuming silence means he doesn't care. Because the truth is, when a man misses you, he often becomes quieter, not louder. And that's the part most women get completely wrong. We've been taught that if a man misses you, he'll text non-stop, call late at night, or show up with emotional confessions. But men don't process longing the same way women do. For many men, missing someone triggers internal conflict, not expression. It activates pride, fear of rejection, and the pressure to stay in control. So instead of reaching out, he pulls back. Here's the shocking truth no one talks about. A man can miss you deeply while acting distant, distracted, or even detached. And if you don't understand how this works, you'll misread his behavior and possibly walk away from something real. When men miss someone, they don't ask, "How do I express this?" They ask, "Is it safe to show this?" And if the answer feels uncertain, they choose silence while replaying memories, checking your presence from afar, and holding on to emotional triggers you don't even realize you left behind. That's why so many women think, if he cared, he'd say something. But what if the reason he hasn't said anything is because missing you affects him more than he wants to admit? In this video, you're going to learn how to recognize the quiet signals men send when they miss you, so you stop guessing, stop chasing, and start seeing the truth hidden behind his silence. Because once you understand this, his behavior will finally make sense. Most men don't hide their emotions because they don't feel them. They hide them because they were taught directly or indirectly that showing emotion comes with consequences. From an early age, many men learn that vulnerability is risky. When they express sadness, fear, or longing, they're often met with judgment, dismissal, or the pressure to man up. Over time, this conditions them to associate emotional openness with loss of respect or control. Another reason men suppress emotions is because they experience feelings differently. Men tend to process emotions internally before expressing them. When something affects them deeply, like missing someone, it doesn't immediately translate into words or actions. Instead, it creates mental noise. They replay conversations, analyze past moments, and question their own reactions. What looks like emotional absence from the outside is often emotional overload on the inside. There's also pride involved. For many men, admitting they miss someone feels like giving up leverage. It feels like placing their emotional safety in someone else's hands. Even if they care deeply, they may hold back because they don't want to appear dependent, needy, or rejected. Silence becomes a form of self-protection, not indifference. Men also fear being misunderstood. They've seen situations where opening up led to conflict, pressure, or expectations they weren't ready to meet. So instead of expressing emotions imperfectly, they choose not to express them at all. In their mind, staying quiet avoids making things worse, even if it creates distance. What's important to understand is that emotional restraint doesn't mean emotional absence. Many men feel deeply, but they manage those feelings privately. They may distract themselves, focus on work, or withdraw socially, not because they don't care, but because they're trying to regain emotional balance. When a man hides his emotions, it's often a sign that something matters more than he's willing to admit. The challenge isn't that he doesn't feel, it's that he doesn't feel safe enough to show it. When a man misses you, but doesn't want to admit it, his need for connection leaks out in subtle, almost accidental ways. Instead of saying, "I miss you," he reaches for something that sounds harmless. A random question. A comment that doesn't really need an answer. A message that could have easily been sent to anyone, but somehow it's always you. This is rarely coincidence. When someone is on a man's mind, his brain looks for low-risk entry points to reconnect. He tells himself it's just curiosity, boredom, or convenience. But emotionally, it's attachment trying to surface without exposing vulnerability. Asking how you are, reacting to something trivial, or bringing up a shared memory becomes a safer substitute for admitting emotional longing. You'll notice these messages often lack depth on the surface, yet they arrive at meaningful moments. Late at night, during a quiet part of his day, or right after something reminds him of you. The timing matters more than the content. A simple, "Hey, did you ever finish that show?" isn't about the show. It's about reopening a line to you without risking rejection. What's especially revealing is consistency. One random message could mean nothing, but repeated check-ins disguised as small talk signal that he's trying to stay emotionally present in your life. He wants to confirm that access to you still exists, that the door isn't closed, that he still matters to you. Men who miss someone often test the emotional temperature before going deeper. They watch how quickly you respond, how warm your tone is, whether you ask questions back. Each interaction gives him information. If you seem open, he feels reassured. If you seem distant, he retreats, not because he stopped caring, but because he feels exposed. Another overlooked detail is that these messages often trail off without resolution. He reaches out, exchanges a few lines, then disappears again. That's not manipulation, it's hesitation. He got the emotional hit of connection, but pulled back once the risk felt too real. Understanding this signal helps you avoid overthinking or mislabeling his behavior. Those random reasons to reach out are rarely random. They're carefully chosen excuses that allow him to feel close to you without saying the one thing he's not ready to say out loud. When a man misses you but isn't ready to re-enter your life directly, he often chooses the safest form of connection available. Observation. Social media makes this easy. It allows him to stay emotionally close without risking rejection, awkwardness, or vulnerability. He doesn't have to explain himself. He doesn't have to say anything. He can just watch. This is why you may notice him viewing your stories within minutes, liking something unexpectedly, or suddenly becoming active on your profile after a long silence. It's not casual scrolling. When someone consistently appears in your digital space without engaging fully, it usually means they're emotionally invested, but unsure how or if they should step forward. What's powerful about this signal is intention. Social media is full of content, yet he repeatedly gravitates toward yours. He notices changes in your appearance, your mood, the people you're around. He remembers details you never told him directly. That level of attention requires emotional energy, and men don't invest that energy unless someone matters to them. Quiet watching is also a way for him to regulate his emotions. Seeing your life gives him a sense of connection without the pressure of conversation. It lets him feel close while staying protected. In his mind, it's a compromise between wanting you and protecting himself. You might also notice patterns. He shows up more when you seem happy, confident, or moving on. That's not coincidence. When a man misses you, the idea of losing relevance in your life triggers him emotionally. Watching you becomes a way to reassure himself that he still exists in your world, even if only on the sidelines. Sometimes he'll engage just enough to stay visible. A reaction emoji, a quick like, a short comment that doesn't invite a long conversation. This is intentional restraint. He wants to be noticed without opening a door he's not sure he can walk through. What many women misinterpret is thinking this behavior is meaningless or passive. In reality, it's emotionally active. Silence combined with attention is often stronger than words. It means he's present, thinking and feeling, just privately. If he truly didn't care, he wouldn't watch at all. Indifference looks like absence, not quiet observation. When a man watches you from a distance, it's often because missing you hasn't gone away. It's just being managed in the only way he feels safe. When a man misses you but feels conflicted about it, his replies often arrive slower than you expect, but carry more meaning than they appear to on the surface. This delay isn't always disinterest. More often, it's hesitation mixed with emotional self-control. He's not ignoring you. He's thinking about how to respond, and whether responding at all will pull him back into feelings he's trying to manage. Men who miss someone tend to overthink communication. A simple message from you can trigger a rush of memories, emotions, and unanswered questions. Instead of replying impulsively, he pauses. He rereads your message. He drafts a response in his head, deletes it, rewrites it, and sometimes steps away altogether. What looks like emotional distance is often emotional intensity being restrained. When the reply finally comes, pay attention to its tone. It may be thoughtful, warm, or slightly heavier than casual conversation. He might acknowledge something meaningful you said, reference a shared moment, or ask a question that goes deeper than small talk. That's emotional weight. He's choosing his words carefully because they matter to him. You'll also notice inconsistency. At times he responds quickly, almost instinctively. Other times, hours or days pass. This push-pull reflects internal conflict. Part of him wants connection. Another part wants protection. The delay becomes a buffer, a way to stay connected without losing emotional control. What's important is that he doesn't fully disappear. Even after long gaps, he comes back. That return is intentional. It signals that despite his restraint, you're still on his mind. If he truly didn't care, there would be no return at all. Many women misread delayed responses as a lack of interest and react by pulling away or confronting him. But pressure often increases his hesitation. He retreats not because feelings are gone, but because they're activated too strongly. Delayed responses with emotional substance are often signs of unresolved attachment. He's not ready to fully re-engage, but he's also not willing to let go. Understanding this signal helps you read between the lines instead of reacting to the clock. Because sometimes the pause speaks louder than the reply itself. When a man brings up the past out of nowhere, especially moments you shared together, it's rarely accidental. Memories don't resurface randomly when emotions are neutral. They resurface when something in the present triggers a feeling that hasn't been resolved. When he misses you, the past becomes the safest place for him to express connection without admitting what he feels right now. You might notice him casually mentioning an inside joke, a trip you took, or something small you once said that clearly stayed with him. He may frame it lightly, as if it just crossed his mind. But memories carry emotional weight, and men don't revisit them unless they're emotionally relevant. By bringing up the past, he's reopening a door to shared meaning without stepping fully into the present. This happens because nostalgia lowers emotional risk. Talking about back then feels less vulnerable than talking about us now. It allows him to feel close to you without confronting where things currently stand or what he wants moving forward. In a way, it's emotional testing. He's watching how you respond. Do you engage warmly? Do you dismiss it? Your reaction tells him whether that emotional bond still exists. There's also comfort in familiarity. When a man misses someone, the past becomes a mental refuge. Recalling moments where he felt understood, accepted, or happy with you helps regulate the discomfort of missing you. Sharing those memories with you extends that comfort into the present, even if only briefly. What's especially telling is when these references appear during emotionally quiet periods, when conversation has slowed or when distance has grown. That's often when missing someone becomes loudest internally. The past gives him a language for feelings he doesn't know how to express directly. Many women overlook this signal, or assume it means he's stuck, indecisive, or bored. But often it means the emotional connection never fully dissolved. He's still carrying those experiences, and they still matter. If a man truly moved on emotionally, the past wouldn't surface with warmth or detail. When he unexpectedly brings it up, it's usually because missing you has pulled those memories back into focus. He's not just remembering, he's reaching in the only way he feels safe. The biggest mistake women make when a man misses them is trying to force clarity. The moment they sense distance mixed with attention, they push for answers. They ask where they stand, why he's acting this way, or what his intentions are. While that urge is completely understandable, it often backfires because it puts pressure on emotions he hasn't fully processed yet. When a man misses you but hasn't accepted those feelings himself, confrontation feels overwhelming. It turns an internal experience into an external demand. Instead of moving closer, he instinctively protects himself by pulling back. Not because he doesn't care, but because he feels exposed before he's ready. Another common mistake is overcompensating. Some women respond to his subtle signals by giving more attention, more availability, more reassurance. They think consistency will stabilize the connection, but when he's already conflicted, too much access can reduce the emotional tension that keeps him engaged. He stops wondering. He stops reaching. The mystery disappears before his feelings fully surface. On the opposite end, some women punish the silence. They go cold, become distant on purpose, or try to provoke jealousy. This often confuses rather than attracts. When a man is already uncertain, emotional games reinforce his fear that opening up will lead to instability or conflict. The core issue is misreading the moment. Missing someone is a vulnerable state, even if it doesn't look like it. When women react with urgency or control, it disrupts the emotional processing that needs space to unfold naturally. What works instead is emotional steadiness. Responding without chasing, being warm without overextending, letting him feel the contrast between connection and absence without pressure. This gives his feelings room to deepen rather than shut down. Many women believe that if they don't act, nothing will happen. But in this situation, restraint is often more powerful than action. When a man is missing you, the emotion is already working in your favor. Interfering with it is the mistake. Understanding this changes everything, because the goal isn't to make him miss you, it's to not interrupt the moment when he already does. Responding without chasing starts with shifting your focus away from his behavior and back to your own emotional position. When a man misses you, there's often a temptation to either lean in too quickly or pull away completely. Both reactions are driven by anxiety. The key is to stay grounded, present, and self-respecting, without trying to control the outcome. When he reaches out, respond, not react. That means answering in a way that's warm but unforced. You don't need to mirror his delays or overthink timing. You also don't need to fill the silence with explanations or emotional depth. A calm, genuine response communicates confidence. It tells him you're open, but not waiting. One of the most powerful things you can do is allow space after connection. If a conversation ends naturally, let it end. Don't restart it just to keep energy alive. Space is not distance when it's intentional. It's contrast. It gives him room to feel the absence of you again, which is often what brings clarity to his emotions. Avoid over-explaining yourself. When a man is emotionally conflicted, too much information can feel overwhelming. Simple responses grounded in the present moment are far more effective. They invite engagement without pressure. They leave something unsaid, which keeps emotional curiosity alive. Another important piece is emotional consistency. Don't swing between extreme warmth and coldness based on his behavior. That creates instability and erodes trust. Instead, stay steady. Be kind. Be respectful. Be unavailable when you genuinely are. This consistency makes you emotionally safe while still maintaining boundaries. What many women don't realize is that not chasing doesn't mean being passive. It means allowing the connection to develop at a pace that doesn't cost you your self-worth. It means trusting that if his feelings are real, they'll move him toward you without you pulling. The goal isn't to get a reaction, it's to maintain your center. When you do that, you shift the dynamic. He's no longer responding to pressure, he's responding to presence. And that's what creates real, sustainable connection. Here's the final insight that changes everything. When a man misses you, it's never about proving anything to you. It's about managing his own emotions. Most women get caught up trying to interpret behavior, decode mixed signals, or push for clarity. But the truth is, his actions are usually a reflection of his internal process, not a judgment on your worth or desirability. Men experience missing someone differently than women. For many, it's intense, confusing, and uncomfortable. They may long for connection while simultaneously fearing vulnerability, rejection, or loss of control. That tension shows up as delayed responses, random messages, quiet observation, or revisiting the past, signals we've talked about. But none of them are meant to manipulate. They're coping mechanisms, ways for him to feel close without fully exposing himself. The key insight is this: missing someone is emotional energy that needs direction. If you try to control it, force clarity, or chase, you disrupt the process. If you respond with judgment, frustration, or pressure, you push him further away. But if you respond with calm confidence, presence, and emotional steadiness, you create a safe space for him to navigate his feelings, and that often naturally draws him closer. This changes everything because it flips the script. Instead of reacting to his behavior out of anxiety or uncertainty, you respond strategically, but authentically. You allow him the freedom to process his emotions without feeling cornered. You recognize that the signals he sends are clues, not confessions. And you understand that emotional silence doesn't mean absence. It often means intensity. He's not ready to articulate. Once you grasp this, you stop chasing. You stop overanalyzing. You stop punishing or overcompensating. Instead, you cultivate patience, awareness, and boundaries. You allow the natural flow of connection to work in your favor, which makes him notice, respect, and feel your presence more deeply. The final truth is simple but powerful. When a man misses you, what he needs most isn't pressure. It's space to feel clarity in your steadiness, and the quiet understanding that he's valued without having to prove it. Once you see it this way, everything about the signals, the hesitation, and the silence suddenly makes sense, and you gain a perspective that changes your relationships forever.